Feliz lunes! Here we go. We're going to have a test at the end of this week or near the end of the week. I know we're on a new schedule, so I'll make all that a bit more clear in Schoology rather than try to stumble through it over a video. We're going to test on the subjunctive this week, just the last test of the year, the last grammar test of the year. And then we're going to move on and we're going to finish the year reading a story that you learned about in the letter last week. So we're going to go over this today. Do another couple of practices. Again, the amount of work is going to feel like a little bit more because we're doing 2 days at a time, essentially. And then we'll get you ready for the test and call it a day. This is going to be our last week of Duolingo. If you didn't read that in the message, this is our last week of Duolingo. So we'll still be doing that, but after this weekend, we'll call it quits there. First one. You need to complete each mini dialogue with the indicative or the subjunctive as appropriate. What you see here is, they give you the verb out in front, so like the first situation is the verb ear, and you basically need to look, okay, is the trigger going to cause the subjunctive or not? Remember, uncertainty, doubt, disbelief, disagreement, that triggers the subjunctive. Certainty triggers the indicative. So we have, I'm going to ask for help from my friend. I think that she is going to help me. Because I think it is true. It is an indication of certainty. I think that she's going to help me. That's enough to trigger the indicative ba. The second part says good idea as a response. It is certain that she is going to help you. And because it is certain, es cierto, that is also an indication of truth, certainty, anything like that. So we have the indicative again, ba. Number 2, venir, to come. Do you know if Lupe is coming to the party? Again, we don't have anything that would trigger the subjunctive because remember, we have 2 different subjects. We have do you know and Lupe. Saber is one of the expressions, but remember, no saber would trigger the subjunctive. And the word si is if. Remember, to trigger the subjunctive, you need the word que. So, do you know if Lupe is coming? No reason for the subjunctive there, so we have viene. The response is it is doubtful that she is coming. She is sick. Because it is doubtful, we have the subjunctive venga. We have a weirdo expression, doubt. We have a K, different subject, so that's why I get subjunctive venga. It's impossible that Marco acts in the comedy because it is impossible. That is not certainty at all. That is going to be the subjunctive actue. If you don't have the accent on the U, that's okay. That's one of the verbs we haven't talked about too much. It does need an accent. And I believe it would be on your yo form sheet. But more importantly, I just wanted to make sure that you know that that would be subjunctive because it's impossible, which creates doubt. The response is, Marco has a lot of talent. It's true that he is acting in the comedy, and because it is true, we know that it's going to happen. So that's why we use actua, the indicative, no flipped ending. I think that Linda knows a very famous baseball player. Because I think it, that's enough confidence that it is true. That's why we use the indicative conoce, no flipped ending. The response, however, is she doesn't know anything about baseball. It's improbable that she knows that player. Because it's improbable, that creates a little bit of doubt. So we use the subjunctive. Your brother always practices tennis. I don't doubt that he plays that he plays well. Because there is no doubt, like I don't doubt something, that triggers the indicative because there is no doubt. No doubt would trigger the indicative. Doubt triggers the subjunctive. No doubt, indicative. The response is yes, it's true that he plays well because we've seen es cierto que a couple of times already in this practice. Just means it's true that he plays well, indicative. I think that Mrs. Ramsey is a good Spanish teacher because I think of, remember those 5 verbs, creer, opinar, saber, pensar, and estar seguro. Any of those verbs trigger the indicative. It's when you put a no out in front that it triggers the subjunctive. So I think that she is a good Spanish teacher is a good enough indication that she is, so we use the indicative. However, the response is it's impossible that she is a good Spanish teacher. She doesn't speak a lot of Spanish. Because it's impossible, that creates not certainty that something is true, so it is the subjunctive. The answers that you wrote for questions can vary a little bit. What I'm just going to highlight is the importance of how the sentence is structured. So the question asks, does it surprise you that Bill Gates is so famous in the world? Remember, that's emotion, which automatically triggers the subjunctive. So you could say, yes, it surprises me, or no, it doesn't surprise me that. You need to say, no, no me sorprende que. So it is not surprising to me that Bill Gates is famous, and we have the subjunctive over here. Remember, sorprender works like the verb gustar. Do you think it's important that the President of the United States appears on the list of most important people in the world? Yes, I believe. Or do you think that the president appears on the list of most important people in the world? Yes, I believe that he appears. So, yes, I believe, and because I believe it, it is the indicative. If you said I don't believe it, that would actually change it to subjunctive because there's disbelief, but belief triggers the indicative. Is it true that to be a politician, it's necessary to be honest and sincere? I said, yes, it is true that it is necessary. If you said it's not true, that would create subjunctive, and this would be sea. Is it probable that in the future, subjunctive, you convert into or you become a Spanish teacher? So if you responded, either way, it would be subjunctive because probability doesn't imply certainty. So, no, it's improbable that in the future I become a Spanish teacher. We have or subjunctive here because it's improbable. Even if it were probable, that's not certain enough. So it's always going to be me convierta is the verb that we're looking for here. Do you think that in order to be a mail carrier, you have to have a lot of physical strength? You'd say, yes, I think that in order to be a mail carrier, it is important to have a lot of physical strength. Because I think it, that's why we have the indicative I. Don't you believe that the duties of a veterinarian are difficult? Yes, I believe that they are difficult. Because I believe it, there is no doubt. We have the indicative here because it's an indication that they are indeed difficult. So that is a bit of practice for you. You'll see the format of the test. It's going to look very similar to the old test. A couple more things I got you to do today, and I will talk to you soon. Hope you have a great day.